Yes people, what is good? I am BA, back once again with another reaction in the Deadwood series. This is episode 9 of season 3 and it is called Amateur Night. Last episode. Well, first of all, Seth was walking around with a stick up his ass the entire episode because he was just, I guess, tense that this letter had just been released to the press. And of course, Mr. Host took it terribly. Straight away went to the news offices and put some veiled threats out towards the guy who runs the printing press. Of course he was going to react like that. I was breaking Seth's balls a bit throughout that episode for being a bit moody to everyone, but I guess it makes sense he would be so tense that he'd put a letter out like that, purposely antagonising someone as powerful as Mr. Host, so I need to give him a bit of slack for his actions last episode. And the Host subplots continued with Al's actor friend claiming he could fix his back for him, only to do some procedure that does nothing, to keep him in a constant state of pain. It's an incredibly silly and petty subplot, which also in turn of course makes it hilarious and genius, and what a funny way to just put a little bit of needle into your arch nemesis. I was thinking about Steve earlier, and you know these people that are super homophobic just because deep down they're gay, so they like project it as an extreme defense mechanism and hate gay people because of who they are. I think Steve's like that for racism. This is my Steve theory, hear me out, because I think deep down he does like all people. He so doesn't want to be seen like that. He like has a defense mechanism up against minorities because deep down his instinct likes them, but everything he's been taught is like making him want to hide it by projecting out even more horrific racism. You know, maybe I'm looking too deep into it and he's just a drunk ignorant racist, but the more you watch Steve, the more there's subtleties and complexities to that character that on the surface just seems like a stupid racist douchebag. Well, he ain't stupid and racist anymore, just stupid. He offered the General co-ownership in the livery, which the General justifiably said no to, which caused Steve to lash out, of course, again, in the dignified manner he is known for. But then, that side of him that I'm telling you about, that's more complex than first seems, obviously likes the General, didn't want him to leave. First he thought about stealing the saddle, then he tries to take the horseshoes off, and as he's grabbing for the horseshoes he gets hit once, doesn't learn his lesson, and the General walks up and discovers him, now in what looks like a conscious but vegetative state, and it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. But at the same time, he's like racist on a level where just like you pity him almost. Yeah, he's crossed that boundary for me, he's now a character I just sort of pity. And of course when shit hit the fan and he got fucked up by the horse, the General still stuck by his side, even though yes, at one point he threw porridge on his face, which was both hilarious and well earned. But after that, he wiped the porridge off, he was clearly still sitting next to him looking after him to a certain extent. It's got to be one of the weirdest budding friendships in known human history, but I'm all for it, you know, if it can make Steve a little less racist, or even if he just remains a vegetable for the rest of the show, and Vegetable Steve might be a nice guy, we don't know, we haven't heard him speak yet. And as if shit isn't crazy enough, Wyatt fucking Earp shows up. The OG legend Wyatt Earp, obviously he's known as a legendary lawman. I have vague memories of my childhood watching an old TV serial show about just Wyatt Earp, but in this show he seems to have come into it more in a time period where he was on the other side of the law. I didn't know Wyatt Earp actually was an outlaw, or not even an outlaw, just a guy committing crimes and shit instead of being a lawman at any point. Now he looks quite young, so I'm guessing that this show is going to take it from the standpoint of this is before he became that legendary lawman. Perhaps we'll actually see him start to morph into that over these next 4 episodes. I could even see if Seth ever leaves his post, you know, Wyatt Earp becoming the next sheriff of Deadwood. And him and his brother seem to be scheming. They're in town, they claim to have a contract to cut timber that he won through cards. But every now and again he has little private conversations with his brother, and it makes me think that there's definitely an ulterior motive to him being in this place. They also brought up the idea of being deputies under Seth. That would be dope to see. I don't know if that's something they're going to try and accomplish, but even to see Deputy Wyatt Earp during these next 4 episodes would be quite cool. knowing how legendary he ended up becoming. And the episode ended with a bunch of riders coming into town with torches shooting their pistols in the air, and at first you're just like, who are these maniacs? It looked like a gang or something, but then they all nodded up to Mr. Hurst, so I'm assuming this is his backup arrived, and they are all armed, they have all got horses, they look crazy enough, and I think that tilts any sort of numerical odds we were tallying in our heads in his favour, for sure. We got the foreshadowing of this a couple episodes where he was sending telegrams trying to get some backup muscle. I don't know if these guys are related to that telegram or this is some secondary shit, because I thought that Al had circumvented that telegram. But of course there is only one way to find out what happens next, so without further ado, this is episode 9, season 3, Amateur Night. Let's check it out and see what it's saying to it. I've been trying to make my recap of the previous episode parts at the start of these videos shorter, and I do apologise. I'm aware I went on for quite a while there, but there seemed to be a lot of things going on in the last episode. And there's stuff I didn't even get to mention, like the fact that the night after Jane and Joni had hooked up, Jane was very distant the next morning, instantly left. Joni asked if she'd be back and she was like, maybe, maybe not kind of thing. I don't know, Jane seemed like she had second thoughts about that whole thing in the morning. The definition of sleeping like a baby. They made a terrible choice staying at Si's place. Al's hoes might be lower quality, but they're good people.
1/3 of 6 is 2.
1/3 ought 6 2.
Yes.
What a strange little math conversation that was.
I'll walk with you.
It's good to see them both smiling. Wow, when was the last time we actually saw these two smiling as a couple?
Does 4 deaths to a row seem right?
My man looking like a fucking medieval tomato salesman.
The camp is to know they're my employees. If this knowledge came first from some disruption of traffic in the thoroughfare, I would have no objection.
Oh, so he's calling for war. He wants everyone to know this is his backup, and he's gonna start escalating shit now they're here.
Copperhead cocksucker Hurst. Bringing in the fucking Pinkertons?
Fuck, they're the Pinkertons. Wow, they've been foreshadowed for seasons as well. These guys were mentioned in episodes 1, 2 or 3 of season 1, so we already know how serious these people are. The last time we saw them was Mrs. Rayhausen or whatever her surname was, you know, who was an agent for the Pinkertons, but these seem like the actual guys with the guns, the real agency people have shown up. Leave Wu the fuck alone.
Go get fucking Wu.
We've hardly seen any of Wu the second half of this season. Ever since he showed up with a haircut and the suit, this show's been hating on him.
That I authored his discomfiture should come clear only as events accumulate.
All right.
Shit, these guys seem like they are just obeying the orders to the T as well. This is a real shift in power. Hurst officially has this entire town by the balls.
Horsemen come to camp by torchlight last night.
Tell Al, as we didn't wake to the apocalypse, I suppose all we need fear is their Winchesters.
That was a very poetically written little piece of dialogue.
Mr. Langrisha is now to my back, ain't Lou, what you have long been to my belly.
This is now officially the one-up that this entire town has against Hurst. This one actor and his ability to hurt Hurst's back a little bit.
My closest confidant in the camp is Aunt Lou, and I say that with every awareness.
Wonderful.
He could never just leave it complimentary, could he?
What did Mr. Swearingen make of the coming into camp of that man among his friends?
I wonder if Hurst is playing a game right now and he already knows this guy is a good friend of Al's, or if he genuinely thinks he can use him as some sort of probe for Al's thoughts on things. He's a smart man, Hurst. It wouldn't surprise me if he was a few more steps ahead than he was letting on here.
Good morning.
Morning.
Has Mrs. Ellsworth successfully kicked the dope? I hope so.
How have you been, Trixie?
No complaints. As if anybody would give a shit.
I'd give a shit, Trixie, and Saul would a little bit.
Oh, shit.
If only Steve knew who the one person looking out for him was.
I ain't seeing him out. I ain't gonna fucking do it!
Why would the general have done that? Can he genuinely just not be fucked looking after this guy after everything negative there's been toward one another? Or did he just not want to see him die?
Deposit of $4,000. and the borrowing of like amounts.
Is he just doing that so that it's on record that that's what he used the money for?
I've no gossamer filament of doubt. You have skills to delight and amaze.
Is he trying to tempt her into joining the theatre? Now that would be a crazy little plot progression for her character. Do the Pinkertons now trump Seth's authority in that town? Surely they don't. They're an independent agency, but they're not like the fucking feds who override the police. They must have to still get the sheriff's permission to just do shit in town, or is it that they're so powerful not even a town sheriff can fuck with them if they come into your town to handle their business?
Stymied by a couple of fucking X's in a goddamn straight line. Winks, grins, gives Wu the big okay.
I've missed Wu.
Let the guns come to camp.
He said he don't know nothing.
And you fucking believe him, huh?
I think I did. Felt like he's outside looking in.
Did Cy help in any way get those guys into camp? I don't think he did. Oh, this dick's back.
Wipe your ass, Hiram. Feels strange at first, but the shit protects against blisters.
These Pinkertons aren't really that professional either, are they? They're very antagonistic, just hanging about in the town, picking beefs with people.
If he don't go on to call you a cunt, he's cutting the message short.
Yes, Wyatt Earp's brother doesn't give a fuck.
Let him fuck your ass. He may raise your pay a quarter.
The guy in the back looked like he was like, yeah, I would if he let me. That instantly made me love the Earps way more in this show. They've been the first ones to stand their ground against the Pinkertons so far.
Richardson, wheelbarrow.
I'm probably counting my chickens before they hatch, but the doc sounds like he might be improving a bit. I haven't seen him coughing in a while.
Sap on hand for syrup, which must taste like hell for being bur oak, but probably smells nice in a lamp.
It's always nice to look on the bright side.
Good. I'll see you in an hour.
Seth's wife has been smiling this whole episode. The bundling board must have been down last night, if you know what I'm saying.
I got a life to live of my own.
As do all here in the camp.
Deep down, I think he's feeling a little bit guilty of leaving Steve now.
What would be your article's subject?
You're a fat fucking bastard, ain't you?
Not gonna lie, it's a striking headline. Hurst is not fucking around just because he published the letter. Wow.
Switching. Hurst. Hang day?
We're the opposite of fucking hang die.
Swedgen and Hurst are definitely not hang die.
Hey, how about the canoe? Did you know that had been fucking invented yet?
I like how he did the paddling motion just to make sure that Wu knew he was breaking his balls.
You and Hurst are on the outs.
Fucking hell. Al is feeling a little bit tense.
The blessed Miss Stubbs, whose bust is so very prominent in the mind's pantheon of the camp.
What a compliment.
It is only I from whom he must be sequestered. Your counsel may be invaluable.
He's definitely got away with the words, this guy. His dialogue is written amazingly.
Some kind of amateur night he's organizing, connected with his theater. Some way I couldn't fathom.
Imagine if Joni or Charlie went to the amateur night. I'm actually looking forward to seeing who shows up for this audition on amateur night now. You never know who's going to become an actor. If Wild Bill was an actor back in these days, anybody could really step up and try, I guess.
I was just stopping by to say good morning.
It's cool to see these two having a conversation again. Charlie always looked out for Joni.
The money was not stolen. There was an amount of siphoning off and certain irregularities.
Sounds like you stole it to me.
We stayed above 90.
And did you lay a few cents by?
A few. Never enough.
This just shows that as soon as governments were created, the corruption started.
I'd rather not produce it in this place.
Worst gets produced here pretty regular.
Good point. It is a brothel.
I had the eerie sense he knew what he was doing.
Maybe not so drunk as he seemed, huh?
Surely the newspaper guy is smart enough to correlate the fact that he's just published this letter pissed off Host the Pinkertons have arrived in town on his behest, and then he just got his ass kicked by one of them.
Did he cry out? He said, "Oh dear." He's bleeding and curled up like a baby.
Oh, he's so fucking satisfied, isn't he? What a petty man with infinite power.
You printed any letters lately, Merrick? That some miserable cocksucker would send an underling to punish you for?
Well, at least Al's spelling it out for him.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Merrick, my dear friend.
Well, cut it the fuck out, the both of you.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed in you there. I've liked you as a character this whole show, but he's been your one friend in this town from day one and you didn't back your friend.
I'd like to punch him.
Give him the fucking telegram. And no punching.
Oh, let him do both. Give him the telegram, let him read it, then punch him. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Have I bled on your bed linen, Sal?
You wouldn't be the first.
I wonder how many wounded people Al has had on his bed in the past.
Do yourself a favor, Saul. Stop thinking of that Derringer as a problem solver.
Solved several for me.
Little bit of philosophy on the pistol from Seth there.
Hiram.
Oh shit! Wow, Wyatt Earp's brother is not fucking around with these Pinkertons.
Stand away till I find out what happened here. That fight was fair. Bullshit!
Well, we're about to see how far Seth's power goes when the Pinkertons are here.
You're fucking under arrest. What for? For interfering with a fucking peace officer.
I love how Seth wrangles people by the ear. I have never seen that be someone's go-to move before. Whether you're Mr. Hurst or the leader of the Pinkerton gang in town, you are getting ear wrangled.
Notch where I sleep. Besides the notches for my other hands.
He's got ham notches. Now that is professional.
You'll find it made, Aunt Lou.
These two are so cool. 2 really warm-hearted characters in like a town of seedy shit.
Odell is dead.
What?
Jesus, help me.
Mr. Hurst better not have had anything to do with that.
Giganto, the runaway circus elephant.
Miss Stubbs.
Even when she's completely drunk, Jane can still come out with a decent insult.
Get up and walk them kids.
Okay, Giganto!
I would never in a million years have thought I would be seeing this guy's character as the moral superiority to Jane. To be honest, he seemed like such a weird shallow dick before he was shot, and since then he seems like he's completely changed as a human being. Oh man, that is absolutely fucking heartbreaking. Richardson is actually the best, isn't he? It's took me this long to realise it, but I now see Richardson is the best.
You move on, taking your genius brother with you.
Please tell me the Earps aren't leaving town already though. It's too big a name to just fucking take away from us this quickly. They did the same shit with Wild Bill in season 1. Oh, they're holding hands. Bit of progress.
Tell him I ain't coming for his lecture. Tell him I don't need it. Tell him if my temper was gonna get the best of me, this cocksucker's brains would be on the floor.
At this point, he is literally used to being summoned to Al to be ranted at. What a great shot that was, both looking down on their balconies, and then Al going away, almost as if at that moment in time he accepted defeat and Hurst was now looking over the town, not Al.
Nights to come will find us on the stage within. Our enactments...
Holy shit, a lot of the town showed up for this shit. The sandwich board thing worked like a fucking charm back in the Old West. Bruce Willis does it once in Die Hard 3 and everyone seemed to hate him. So fucked up, think how badly she fought against him working with Hurst. It's as if she saw all this shit coming. She was terrified of it. She was literally offering him things to stop him from working with Hurst. Even if Hurst isn't behind it, Aunt Lou's gonna hold him responsible, obviously. Now, she is in a position to kill Hurst, straight up. Like, she makes his food. She could poison him if she wanted to, so it'll be interesting to see what her next move is.
Bird would come, I would hope, from your mouth.
What the fuck?
Don't follow so damn close.
That guy is such a weird dude.
Loves me.
I knew he'd go back for Steve eventually.
It's the best fucking thing I have ever heard in my life.
Oh, how times have not changed.
I was arrested. I was locked up. What's the upshot?
Go and sin no more.
When he said that, did he mean, like, what's my payback for you wasting my time, and he gave him a free gun? Is that what just happened?
Grandpa's trick.
It is, yes. And we oughtn't to let that spoil it for us.
Once again confused, I thought a few episodes ago she basically said to Ellsworth, like, I'm gonna get off this shit. And I thought that was gonna make him consider sticking around. To be fair, we haven't seen him since that episode either, so I do not know what he decided to do. But I thought her going clean would maybe convince him to stay with her. I guess not.
Some people gotta fucking work, huh?
He says while pouring himself a drink.
Mystery from the East.
That's the front row seat that Richardson deserves. Some shit could go down if the ops are still in camp. I do not think the Pinkertons will take one of their own being shot like that lying down. I would actually say that it might be likely Wyatt Earp's brother dies during this show, if they hang around. I don't know what his brother did in real life or how long he lived.
What's the treehouse doing way the fuck up there? I like them school kids.
Tree houses are awesome. Never had a good one when I was a kid. I don't know what you guys were like if you had full-on builds up there, but we just like hammered a couple planks with a couple nails into two conjoining branches and like boom, that was our tree house. It wasn't a tree house. It was a branch plank. There's Ellsworth.
Reinforcements are available should poll watchers prove hostile to repeaters.
Come forward, goddammit, my back fucking worsens.
Is he actually ordering more reinforcements?
We'll support candidates of your preference in each office, Mr. Hurst, as if cast by you yourself.
Yeah, makes sense. He's probably the most powerful man in the land, so why wouldn't the corrupt people in power just hand over the fucking places they control to him for a price?
You can't come in here, Si.
I suppose I could if I want to.
What is the point of him just showing up to be a prick?
Come on, girl. Come on close.
What a fucking dick. He can't let this shit go, can he?
Help me, Stubbs. I'm too afraid.
Ah, fuck. That's fucked up. That's how Jane feels.
For the shit-heel little kids to play amongst and jolly joy.
What the fuck is he so bitter about?
I'll hold your heart in my hand for your beady little rat eyes to look out for and shove it down your fucking throat.
Si.
I don't know if he would. I give the big guy a good chance. And he's got a bit of a revenge arc in this story because it was one of Si's guys that shot him. No idea where this outburst came from. I thought at this point he was basically letting Joni mind her own business. And that is depressing to see Jane feel so lowly of herself. She's such a brave person deep down, and I don't know why in that moment she felt fear. The only time I'd in fact ever seen her like that in this entire show was in season 1 when Al threatened her in the doctor's office. Other than that though, she's been in like rifle standoffs and shit with Al when she was side by side with Seth. So where is this newfound fear of violence came from?
I asked him what ailed him, I asked him what failed him, I asked him the cause of all his complaint. It was all on account of some handsome...
Al would have killed the amateur night stage with this song.
If she had but told me of it in time, I might have got pills and salts of white mercury, but now I'm cut down in the height of my prime.
It's mad, we're almost seeing like what Al would do if he could do whatever he wanted, but because he has to be Al, he wouldn't go on stage during an amateur night show. It's like he's living a second life in this moment.
There goes an unfortunate lad to his home.
Absolutely smashed that. I'm surprised 10 hookers didn't simultaneously burst out of their rooms and scream encore. Okay, and that was episode 9 of season 3 of Deadwood, and it was called Amateur Night, and I will be back in just a minute with my thoughts on that. So, Amateur Night, what did I think of that? Well, yeah, as expected, that gang did arrive in town for Mr. Horst, but I had no idea it was the actual Pinkerton agency showing up. I expected these guys to be almost lawman-esque in the way they carried themselves, but throughout the episode, they were clearly just there to start shit. They were just like fucking teenagers with power and weapons. Not actually, but in their mindset when they approached the general public. Horst had given them the instructions to do that and stir up some shit in the streets, and they went along with it happily. Not the behaviour you would hope to get from an actual lawman. So these guys are something completely different, but that also led to them antagonising the wrong person, because one of these Pinkertons was trying to beef with Wyatt Earp's brother, and the second time he antagonised him later on and approached him again, Wyatt Earp's brother just pretended he was going along with the conversation and bang, shot him instantly. Still don't know if that guy bled out and died or if he's going to recover or whatever. We never really got to see what happened to him after he was shot. But yeah, don't fuck with the Earps, lesson be learned from that. Strangely though, because of that, the Pinkertons obviously ran up to intervene, Seth ran up to intervene, and he ordered them to stop. When the Pinkertons were testing Seth's authority, he ear-grabbed one, his trademark move, and marched him off to jail, defusing the situation. But what was mad was, Wyatt Earp's brother didn't actually get arrested. Was there no witnesses to it? Did no one see him shoot him? I have no idea how he was able to walk free from that. But yeah, it ended up being the Pinkerton who was trying to find out what the fuck had just happened that got arrested, not the actual person who shot the member of the Pinkerton agency. They also sent that guy into the news agency to beat the shit out of Merrick just because he published it in the press. They were doing everything they could to just instantly take over the town, almost on a street level, like a street gang. It's good to see Mrs. Ellsworth in better spirits. I hope she stuck to her word and managed to get off the dope. We didn't actually get to see a scene of her successfully avoiding it or anything like that to clue us in on where she is on that, but she was more even keel this episode, and I get the feeling she has got off it again. One of the people, by the way, invited to Amateur Night, which was just this mad public performance the theatre was putting on where everybody could join in. A nice bit of fun in a show that is most of the time quite serious. And Odell died. I don't even know how long he'd left the camp, but it didn't seem like that long. Poor Aunt Lou was distraught. It was such a sad scene seeing Richardson comforting her in private in the meat freezer after her getting this news. And that last scene was Cy just showing up to Joni's place. What the fuck was that about? I have no idea why all of a sudden she popped back into his head as someone he needs a vendetta against. Surely at this point he's got bigger fish to fry with beefing with Al and beefing with Seth and things like that, but no, he hadn't forgotten Joni. All she wanted to do was move on and live her own life. She'd even left the profession of prostitution, which was the reason that Cy had her under his employ to begin with, and he still feels like he's got some sort of ownership of her, and he's almost spiteful that she's left that life behind her, and you can tell he still feels like he owns her, and how dare she just have her own life now and try and be a fucking do-gooder, doesn't she remember what she is, etc. But the fact that it came out of absolutely nowhere, and he was so threatening in his demeanour as well, if Jane hadn't have went and got help, I think it definitely would have turned violent between him and Joni. So no idea why one day he just decided to fucking get up and all of a sudden be aggressive to her again, especially if you remember, even long after she'd decided to fucking leave him behind, went and started her own shit. When he was stabbed by the priest, she was the one at his bedside making sure he was cool. So why now he is fully healed and has bigger fish to fry, he still spares a thought to go and be such a prick to Joni still? I have no idea. And this episode made me like the big guy, the one that was shot in Cy's establishment initially, because not only did he have that nice talk trying to convince Jane to get off drinking and help her get up and stuff like that, but then he also went on to save the day in that moment there. So this single episode did a great job of me liking a character that before this I didn't really care about. And I would say this was probably one of my favourite episodes of season 3 so far. Just so many things went down, and also it set up so many things that have to come to a conclusion at some point over the next 3 episodes. So it's got me really intrigued to see what happens next. And sometimes it is so annoying that I only get to watch one of these a week. If you've liked this video, click like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, ring the bell to be notified as to when they drop. If there's anything you want to talk about, comment down below, and share this around to anyone you think might appreciate it or want to watch these reactions along with us. My Patreon link is down in the description. If you become a patron, you get access to my blog, you get access to these reactions I put on YouTube a month and a half in advance, and you also get access to full-length versions of everything I react to. So consider becoming a patron, it helps me and the channel out so much, and until next time, I have been BA, peace.